Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all to the panelists for being here. And yes, I too am a huge fan of women's sports, especially the #1 Lady Longhorns right now. I'll be very brief. Mr. Whitman, can you just tell us in your world, what's the #1 producing revenue sport?
Football, Congressman.
Do any of any of the others make money?
Men's basketball.
So just men's football and men's basketball are revenue producing, none of the others are.
We have two of the sports that produce revenue. They don't earn profit. And so we also make money through women's basketball and volleyball as well.
So they make revenue, I mean, you put it perfectly, they make revenue but not profit.
Yes, sir.
So how do y'all divide what goes everywhere else?
I'm sorry?
How do you divide what goes everywhere else?
We generate our resources through football, men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, and then we redistribute that money out to fund the experience and the opportunities for the remainder of our student athletes.
So again, like what programs do you decide you have or not have based on the revenue that you have coming in?
Ultimately, there's strategic decisions left to the discretion of each institution to determine for themselves what programs we wish to sponsor and at what level of resource we're able to provide them.
So what's your, let's say, okay, you have football, men's basketball. Do you have a third, what's number 3?
We have an incredibly competitive men's golf program.
Okay, so men's golf, perfect example. What do those kids get paid NIL?
They do receive NIL contracts. They probably don't at many institutions, but at the University of Illinois, because of the profile that our golf program enjoys, they are the beneficiaries of NIL arrangements.
So the golfers make money, but the program does not.
Correct.
Thank you. Coach Beamer, thank you very much for being here. Can you take us through a normal, and I know SEC now, so a recruit comes in, you go to a home where a recruit comes in. What's the first topic of discussion these days?
We start recruiting them really early. So maybe when they're a young player in high school, it's about the uniforms and things like that. And then certainly as they get older and closer to making a decision, they want to talk about opportunities in our town. They want to talk about academics. They want to talk about playing time. We talk about the fan base and the resources and the development that our program provides. And certainly NIL is a topic that comes up, but is it typically at the forefront? Not necessarily.
Define not necessarily. I mean, let's say 5-star, 4-star recruits. Is that not the #1 topic of discussion?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's the #1. I think honestly, it really depends on the young man. There have been those type of players that have been in my office that it's one of the first things that comes up, and there's other players that have come in my office and it hasn't come up at all. Now, I'm not naive to say that outside of my office with other people, they may be having those conversations, but in regards to me, that's the experience that I have with players.
And what about for the players in the portal?
Players in the portal, I'd say the NIL conversation is a little bit more prevalent because so many of those young men in the portal, they've done something at the other school in a lot of situations as well. Being from the state of Texas, you're familiar with your rival, Oklahoma, and Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler transferred to the University of South Carolina. Spencer had accomplished a lot at the University of Oklahoma. Him coming to the University of South Carolina, he had proven a lot. So certainly in situations like that, they're going forward, there's NIL conversations that are a little bit more prevalent with transfers that have been in college.
And that's kind of where I'm going, right? I mean, the whole student body experience, in my opinion, is to get an education first. We all know the reality of this is with NIL, with the money in sports now, with the golfers at Illinois getting paid more than the program generates, we have a major problem in this country, and we have to fix it, and I believe now it's up to us to fix it because there is no equality anymore.
Right.
It's who gets paid the most and where those players go. And if they're unhappy, they transfer, and they can easily transfer. And do they go to another academic institution because of the programs that they have in education or possibly what they're going to get paid? These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that are out for a paycheck rather than education. And I think it's up to change that moving forward. Thank you all very much for being here today.